All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for those who are tuning in live and on the Zoom and whatnot. Thanks for being here today. We're gonna take a few notes. I got 3 problems kind of picked out that'll look like your homework, and we're gonna be covering this, completing the square. And I want to do that new process, that little modification that we did yesterday for any of the problems that have leading coefficients, even if it's just a negative sign. So I got 3 problems kind of picked out. Your homework will be 5 problems. It'll be on a worksheet. You'll do it on Google Classroom, and then you'll submit it back to me. I'll take a picture of it and submit it back to me. So it's due by Tuesday. It's not really that hard. All you're doing is tell me the max or min, that highest point, lowest point. You're not finding roots. You're not doing anything else. It should be really easy. So we're going to go through a few notes here to make sure that you kind of know what you're doing. Let's see. Anyone in a group on Zoom? Can you guys hear me and see my iPad just fine? Just let me know. Either in the chat or somebody unmute yourself and say yes or no. So. Wait them on. I assume you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? No. Okay, good. Somebody at least confirmed. All right, let's jump right in. So what you're looking up here, again, goal is to find max or mins. You're just completing the square process to do it. Homework will be due on Tuesday next week. It's 5 problems. It's pretty easy. I've been trying to keep it kind of simple and straightforward for you guys. So first example here, let's kind of jump through it. All right, so first example, we're going to be completing the square. We're finding the max or min for this. This is a normal problem. I think you have on the homework, I think there's 3 of these, just this basic one. Again, you're not finding roots or anything like that. We're just finding that max or min for completing the square. So I can zoom in on that if you guys want me to. There you go. Okay, so first step. I'm going to move that 7 across to the other side because the constants need to move over. I don't need to worry about factoring anything out on this one, so doing that new step that we talked about yesterday. We don't need to do any of that. We just move that 7 over. We're going to take half the middle and square it. So the middle term is technically this one out of the 3 terms you have. What's half of it? 4. Square it. 16. And we're going to magically add that to both sides. It almost seems like you're making up a number because you are. Is half the middle squared. And then the left side here should be factorable. Should be factorable. And how it works, they're going to be the same symbols every single time. This is what the symbol is going to be. It's going to be this one. Now, if you just want to put the 1 parenthesis down and put the power of 2 on it, that's fine because you're going to see here it's always going to be the same 2 parentheses. So it's going to be x and x, and then you're going to break up the 16 in the back, and it has to be half the middle. So the middle is 4. That's half the middle, right? So as you can tell, like I was warning you of, that parenthesis repeated twice. If you just want to jump to that step, you can do that. Now, on the other side, what do we have on that other side? What is that? 23. We have a 23. It's kind of a weird number. Got a 23 on the other side. Now, this point, you stop here, and you just read off the answer for your homework. That's it. It's super simple. So the actual coordinates we're reading off here, the opposite with the x, and the opposite of the number in the back. So what is my max or min? Yep, -4 and -23. That's the coordinate for the max and min. Now, I want to see that on your homework. I want to see, I want to see this work that you're doing here, right? I want to see all that work that you're doing, but I also want to know if it's a max or min. So you have to tell me if it's a max or min. So let's think about this logically. Where do the tails go on this problem? Both are going up. The reason why I know that, I'm gonna circle it out front. This is how I know. The x squared is positive out front, so the tails are going up. They're going the same direction. Squares or even powers always go up. They're going the same direction. So that means this is a lowest point on the graph. So this is actually a minimum vertex. It's a minimum value. It is a vertex. That's one of our vocab words we talked about. It's the peak of the actual like parabola that we're looking at. All right, questions with this? Now, if we wanted to do the homework from Wednesday, that required that you didn't find the coordinate here. You didn't stop at the yellow part that I did. you just continue down, you take the square root and subtract the 4 over, and you read off what your 2 roots are. But this homework is actually easier. You just stop and read off the coordinates, and it's always the opposite of those numbers. So, okay, questions with this so far? Perfect. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so second example out of 3 problems I'd like to cover today. So, the second one, this one's going to have a leading coefficient. So let's put something in the front here. So I think you have 2 of these that have leading coefficients out of your 5 problems today. All right, same rules as before. I want to find the vertex. I want to figure out if it's a max or min, all that good stuff. I can already tell if it's a max or min by just looking at the leading number out front. The tails on this one are going up. It's positive 3x squared, so this is going to be a minimum value. I can tell you that in the end. I can already predict that. But now, going through the rules, I need to move that 10 over. What happens when I move the 10 over? Negative. Okay, that's the first step. You got to move that constant over. Notice I didn't divide everything by 3. That was the incorrect method of doing, because it would give you a height or a max or min that was too low if you divide everything by 3. But now at this point, I'm going to factor the 3 out. This is the difference. This is that new process we learned the other day. So I factor the 3 out. So what I'm left with, if I pull the 3 out of that left side, I'm left with x squared plus 2x. That's dividing both numbers by 3. And if that didn't work out to be a clean number, so be it. Just write down what the number is, whatever the decimal is. Or leave it a fraction, I don't care. We'll see that, I think on the next one I have a... No, I don't. I thought I had an odd number. I didn't pick any odds. Yeah, I'll pick an odd for the next one. You can practice with an odd number. Okay, so on this particular problem, you do have a middle term. This is the middle term technically. It's a 2x. So we have to take half of it, which is 1, and square it, which is 1. Okay, so that number is going to go here. That is not the number you're adding across, though. I know we made it up, right? It's half the middle squared. But, say it?
3.
It's actually supposed to be a 3. The reason why I know it's a 3 is because if I were to multiply this 3 back through the parenthesis, it would turn into a 3. That's how I know the number that I just made up. So it's always half the middle squared, and if there's a leading number out front, you have to multiply it on it. So technically I'm adding a 3 to the other side, not a 1, even though it looks like a 1 on the left. It's actually a 3. Question?
Is it always going to be the number out front?
Yes. Every time. Yep. Even if that number is negative, that's what you add to the other side. It could be a negative number. Yep. Yep. Good call. We'll actually see that in the next one. So yes. Okay. Good. Now we factor that left side up. So if I factor this thing apart, I'm just going to jump to that little shortcut that I told you earlier. We know it's going to be a square. It's going to be this symbol right here. It's going to be an x. And what is half the middle? 1. And on the other side, what do we have? A negative 7. That's the number on the other side. And now I can read off what my coordinate is. What is the opposite of those numbers? What do we have? Negative 1 and 7. Positive 7, right? That's my vertex. That's in fact, this graph is a minimum. That's what we talked about last time. In fact, I'm going to bring that up again. So we go to Desmos. I'm going to type this in just so you can see the graph. I'll just share it with you right now so you can see it. So everyone in the room will be able to see it. What is that? 3x squared plus 6x plus 10. See where to put that screenshot at. There we go. Okay, I might have to zoom out. You guys might not be able to see this. Oh, yeah, actually you can. Actually looks pretty good. Okay, as you can see, the coordinate we had on this particular problem, it's hitting what, -1/7 up in the air, because my graph's going by 2's on the major lines, so -1/7. So it is following the right coordinates. So I want to show you this just to show you that the modification we had to make is giving me the correct coordinates. I didn't type in anything modified. I typed in the exact original problem that I had above on the very top of my problem. Okay. All right. So let's go back. So that was the part in green here is what I typed in. So. But yeah, there you go. Let's go to the next one. This is my last problem of the day, by the way. Last problem. I'm gonna pick an odd number here. I know that seems weird. I think it's important to get to see an odd one in case you actually have one. So here we go. Let's go with. Okay, so my last example of the day: -x² plus 11x plus 18. Kind of a weird odd number in the middle. It's important you get to see one of those. Does this number have a leading coefficient out front?
Yeah.
Yes, it has a what, a -1. We'll have to pull that out. That'll be something we'll do later. So there is a -1 out front. Now, what this one tells me, by just seeing that negative sign, it means the tails are facing down. Okay, the tails face downwards. So hopefully the people on my iPad could see that in the last example I did. So the tail's going to face down. So this one actually has a maximum. Since the tail's face down, it will come to a peak at the top. So that's what the little negative sign means. That's how I can actually tell right away if it's positive or negative, has a max or min. Right? So this one has a maximum. We'll get to that here in a little bit. What's the first thing I need to move? 18, just like before. We move the 18 across. Becomes a -18. Nothing has changed. It's still the same rules, right? Now at this point, I'm going to factor out, I'm not going to divide everything by the -1. I'll just factor it out. That's the difference. That's that new rule that we talked about. You're just going to pull that -1 out. So if I divide both numbers by -1, here's what I have. Right, dividing that -1 out. So it turned out to be a positive x² and a -11x because I divided the -1 out. The 18 on the other side, it's not even on the left, so I don't even worry about it. It just stays on the other side of the equal sign. I'm not even affecting it. All right, questions up to this point? Okay, let's keep going here. So, half the middle. What's half the middle in this one?
5.5.
Yeah, it's 5.5, right? The middle number was 11, and we had to take half of it, which is 5.5. And then you have to square that. So 5.5 squared. That number turns out to be a 30.25. That's half the middle squared. Half the middle is technically -5.5, but when I square it, it turns positive. That is not the number that I'm adding across. Because if you didn't listen to Jada earlier, she said it right. You always have to take that number times the number out front. So instead of 30.25, what is technically the number that I'm adding to the other side? A -30.25. Here's why. Because you have to take whatever this number is, half the middle squared, you have to take it times the number out front, because that technically would distribute through, and that's the number that you magically added to this side. I'm adding a negative number to the other side because of that 30 times the -1. If that was a 2 out front, fine, 30.25 times 2, and then add that to the other side, whatever that is. All right, now we factor this thing apart. -1, parenthesis, we're gonna have 2 of those parentheses. Okay, it's gonna be x, it's gonna be this symbol right here, that's the symbol that goes in there. And then half the middle, like we said earlier, was the 5.5. And on the right side, what is that? -18 minus 30.25 more? -48.25? All right, what are my coordinates? What are we getting?
5.5 and 48.2.
Yeah, so is opposite of those numbers. You're right. They're going to both turn positive. That's the vertex. This is actually a maximum on this graph. It's the highest point on that graph that we have. I'm going to draw this for you just so you can see it one more time. So we'll go back to my graph here and I'll share this with you. So y equals negative x squared plus 11x plus 18. I'm gonna zoom out here. Whoa. There we go. All right. I'm gonna super zoom in on this and share this with you.
Is there no question of the day?
No, there won't be. It's just homework today. So you have to get the homework for today. So, all right. So there you go. For those who are on the iPad, hopefully everything's looking okay for the people on the iPad. I haven't heard. They said they can hear me, so I assume they can see it. So there you go. That graph is going up. It's got a maximum point. You can see it's at negative 5.5 roughly. It's right between 0 and 11, and it's up at the top. If I were to click on that, there you can see it's hitting 48. It's nearly hitting 50. So on Desmos, if you actually touch that point, it'll actually tell you the coordinates. So I just took a screenshot of it. So okay. Questions with any of the stuff we've done today? Something that maybe you're not quite getting, you don't know, you want to see another part of it, especially odds or evens, or why do we do something, or where did this number come from? Hopefully I didn't type anything wrong.
There's no question of the day.
Nope, no question of the day today. Nope, it's just homework today. Pretty easy. I think the homework already went live for those for my period 9 kids. You'll probably see it here in about 30 seconds. So, yeah, period 9, you'll see the question of the day go live here in a second. Okay, everyone else in the room, did the if you've already been on Google Classroom, did it show up, the worksheet? Perfect. Okay, period 9, it should be assigned already, so it should show up in about 30 seconds if you haven't seen it already. I always try to make it go about 4 or 5 minutes into class, but period 9 I always have to make sure I submit it a little bit earlier than that. Okay. But that's it. Your homework's 5 problems. It's on Google Classroom. For those who are online, you guys can log off. Thanks for being here.